now, we are a family of 7 living on about $48,000 a year while my husband is in dental school. Most people assume that the minute he graduates and starts earning a dentist income, we'll upgrade everything: the house, cars, vacations, private school for the kids. But we don't plan to. Not because we don't want those things, but because this season has taught us that earning more money and having financial freedom are not the same thing. I want to start off by just saying that this video is not in any way the how. This is the why we have chosen to see things differently. It also wasn't some dramatic realization. It was several different conversations on what we want our future to look like. We live incredibly frugal right now. I don't do women's maintenance. We don't have any car payments because we drive older vehicles. And even on our very low income, in this past year, we paid off $14,000 worth of debt. None of it was easy, but it also wasn't complicated either. All it really comes down to is just putting in the work. The habits that we are creating now will serve us very well in the long run. We are learning to separate our wants from our needs, the power of delaying purchases, finding inexpensive ways to enjoy life, planning ahead instead of spending reactively, and becoming comfortable with saying not right now. Online, the typical dentist lifestyle is the big house and the nice cars, luxury vacations, private school for the kids, high-end clothes, and constant spending. High salary increases what a family can buy, but I think it also influences what they think they should buy. And I get it. After 4 years of an intensely stressful season, you want to see the fruits of your labor. You want to reap the rewards and benefits of all of that hard work. And I think a combination of these things is why I have been seeing a lot of negative comments on my socials lately, is people commenting and saying, you're going to be broke. You aren't going to be able to stay at home and just live off one salary. You're not ever going to feel like you have very much money, etc., etc. But I think what people are missing is success to us doesn't look like having material luxury things. It looks like having financial peace. I think one of the big things that people latch onto for our specific situation is we have so many children, and people automatically assume that private school is going to be really expensive for 5 kids, or you're gonna have 5 teenagers that are gonna need vehicles, and just a lot surrounding that, specifically insurances and just all of those things related to having a lot of kids. And I think what has been hard for me to get across is I never said that we were doing those things. And I've responded some here and there. I never said that we were putting all of our kids in private school. I never said that we were buying cars for every single one of them. I never said those things, but it's that personal reflection or that pondering of how are you gonna do it? How are you gonna make it happen? That I think has people confused or feeling like they know our situation. I think too, that is part of why people can't wrap their heads around when I say anything about me being a stay-at-home mom in the future. To them, it's like there's no possible way that you can make things work on one income. And I think again, they're imagining that like upgraded dentist lifestyle, not knowing our actual priorities. And I do agree with commenters on one thing in particular, which is if every want becomes an immediate yes, then yeah, of course, any income, no matter how high, could eventually reach a point where it wasn't enough. And I also wanted to clarify one thing too. One income does not automatically mean one person holds all the financial responsibility without any discussion. It doesn't mean that I don't contribute anything to the household or that we will have to deprive ourselves of any fun or enjoyable purchases. So while we are not planning on putting our kids in private school or buying all of these cars for our teens as they reach that age, I did want to take a second to talk about some of the things that are very important to me, to my husband, in regards to our kids and stepping into that next phase of life of having a higher income. The 3 things that are the most important to me would be, 1, I want us to teach them how money works. We have had some small conversations because obviously they still need to be age appropriate. You don't want to stress kids out about money, all of that. But that's really important, is that we teach them how money works, not just how to spend it. The second thing is I do want to have savings set aside for each of the kids, whether that is for help with college, help with weddings, or down payments for houses, or whatever they choose to do. That's their thing. But I do, of course, want to help our kids a little bit. Not a full ride, nothing crazy, but just give them kind of a head start that we didn't necessarily have when we were young adults. And the third thing that is very important to me is starting early, setting our kids up and helping them and showing them the importance of a retirement account. That is something that I remember hearing about in high school, learning about in high school. You know, they give you this little like paper slider thing that shows you, oh, if you start saving X amount at this age, this is how much you'll have. And, you know, it kind of goes through all of them. And that is something that's so important to me, is that from the time they get their first job, that is something that they're already thinking about, that's something that they're already starting to save for, recognizing why it's important. Because I feel like that is something that is so easily overlooked. It's put to the side, it's put off for when you're older, but that is something that I want my kids to really, really know about and pay attention to. Ultimately, I just want our kids to know and understand the value of security over status. I want to take you through my way of thinking, because I think the way that most people think about their income or their paycheck is, I think first they take care of their bills. Then they take care of their wants disguised as needs. And then if there is anything left over after that, they will throw it at debt, maybe some savings, if there's anything left over at all. And in this scenario, you might be making doctor money, but you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Our mindset is flipped. So obviously we will still pay all of our bills first. Then we will pay debts, fund emergency funds and savings, investments, and then see how much is left over for wants, if there is any. I think a lot of people are also always looking to elevate the lifestyle. You know, if there's a raise, if there's a bonus, if there's any paycheck that's higher, it's what can we buy? What can we do? Let's do something fun. Let's go on a trip. Like, that is kind of the general way that people think. And I think that we just think a little bit differently. To me, I would get excited about those things, not because of what I could like go out and buy or a shopping spree or a vacation or whatever. To me, I would look at that as like, ooh, we got an extra 10,000, 5,000, 20,000, you know, whatever it was, great, we can make an extra debt payment, or we can put this towards our savings or our emergency fund or investments. Like, that is the way that I look at it. And I know that that maybe is not the norm. Because if every increase in income is assigned to another payment, technically we're earning more money, but we may not be any more free. Honestly, I think this is a difficult concept for a lot of people because they want to look wealthy. They don't necessarily care if they are wealthy. And to me, we could look wealthy on the outside. If my husband's income already belongs to the house and cars, debt, and a certain lifestyle, it makes it much harder to escape bad situations, and it's not the life I want to live. When you prioritize money the way that we plan to, you realize that you're not missing out. You're just buying different things. And what are we buying? Well, I made a list that I wanted to read to you guys, the things that our money and our way of thinking will hopefully buy us. We hope to buy the ability to say no to bad employment, the ability for my husband to spend more time with the kids, the ability for me to stay home and continue to care for our children in the home, the ability to have savings for each of our children, the ability to pursue practice ownership, the ability to eventually purchase land and build our dream home, the ability to give generously, and the ability to retire early without needing to preserve an inflated lifestyle indefinitely. I wanted to write these down when I was doing this because I want it to be kind of like that continued manifestation for us, and something that is right there, fresh on our mind, that are the goals that we're trying to one day achieve. I do want to put a quick disclaimer in here though, for anybody who's feeling like this sounds very deprived or very restricted. We are not planning on living a deprived lifestyle either. These are not things that we're never gonna do. We're never gonna have fun. We're never gonna go on vacation. Like I said, we want the land and the home and to feel like all of the hard work and time and effort, everything paid off. We got our rewards for all that we put in. We are just changing the order that we achieve those dreams. That way, when we eventually do have those things, it will feel amazing because we did it the smart, low stress way, not in a way that we are stressed over every little thing. You know, can we pay the mortgage? Can we afford for my husband to miss a week of work so that we will go on vacation? We won't have those things hanging over our heads. If there's one takeaway I hope another spouse or family gets from this, it's that when you and your spouse are aligned and working towards the exact same vision, anything is possible. Do not let other people's inability to manage their money or their assumptions about what you should be doing stop you from building real freedom. If anything about today's video felt helpful or encouraging in any way, hit subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. In my next video, I'm going to be doing our August budget review. I'm so excited. I hope to see you there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.